It is a privilege to be joined on the summit today by Steve Brankle, who is the head JV volleyball coach at John Bown University, the assistant volleyball coach for the university as well. Coach, I'm very much privileged to have you on the broadcast with us today. I know there is a lot going on at JBU, specifically in this department, and we don't get to talk about, the JV programs as often, but I think you have something fantastic going on there. Can you tell us a little bit about your program and the Golden Eagles?
Yeah, so a few years ago, enrollment was dipping a little bit, and the idea of JV sports came up as a way to increase enrollment and to provide another outlet for people to play sports, right? Colleges have we have many sports here. They were actually thinking about soccer because they could get about 25 students, so I'm actually the director of facilities here too. So I have this volleyball is my side hustle, but so we looked at adding a soccer field to be about $1 million. Just didn't seem to make sense when we have 5 gyms on campus. So I foolishly said to my boss, what about JV volleyball? And he looked at me and said, "Do you want to coach it?" And it kind of went from there. So in 2019, we announced that we'd start a JV program. I was going to be the head coach. I started recruiting that year. I probably contacted 400 students trying to get 10 to 15. In the middle of it, the world shut down with COVID, so that added a little challenge to it. But in the end, that August, I had 14 young ladies on campus ready to play volleyball with a coach who had never coached college before, had never recruited before, watched his daughter play. That was really it. I coached club a couple of years, and so we just took off. And that was a crazy year to start a program with all the COVID restrictions that fall. We didn't practice a whole team till November. We had to practice in groups of 3, wearing masks and distancing, which it's kind of hard to play a sport doing distancing, right? But through it all, it was really hard with I had 13 freshmen and 1 junior. And, you're trying to make a team. You're trying to get some kind of chemistry, and you can't even all be together in the same room. Right. But so the season got pushed off to spring, which was probably a good thing because we didn't play together till November. That spring we played 10 games. We went 7-3, which was shocking in some ways, being a new program. And then we just built from there. We just finished year 5. We've played a progressively harder schedule every year. We're winning about 75% of our games. And something unique with this is when we started this, as we asked other schools about their JV programs, most schools, girls last 1 or 2 years, and then they quit, they move on. And so you're constantly recruiting, right? I thought I'd be recruiting 8 to 10 girls every year. We are retaining our girls. I had 5 seniors last year. I lost 1 girl out of 15 this year, and she was a senior. She wants to do more in campus ministry. Just said, I just don't have time for volleyball. I loved it. But we've created something unique in that girls are staying for 4 years and playing JV. I've had 3 girls move up to varsity, but most of them stay. And I really believe it's because we've created a culture that volleyball is a very small thing. I mean, I tell every recruit, volleyball is this big. We put so much emphasis on the teamwork, the chemistry of the team. And bottom line is it all goes back to our faith in the Lord. That's what we start. We start every practice with devotions and prayer. Each girl does a devotion, different girl does a devotion every day. That's our core value. Every year we have a team verse, and we try to live that verse that year. So I think putting an emphasis on something besides a sport, because sports end. Right? At some point, your career is going to end. Who are you then? You're not a volleyball player still, but if you're a daughter of the Lord, if you're a daughter of the Lord, you have something, you have a purpose. And that we use a silly game to grow girls in their faith. We've had 2 girls get saved while they're here. I've had the privilege to baptize one of them.
That's
crazy.
Fantastic.
But that's so, yeah, it's a very unique thing. I'm very blessed to get to be a part of this, and I'm growing with the girls. I'm an old man, but I'm a new coach, right? But so, yeah, it's a very unique experience in this JV program, but I think it's a wonderful experience.
Okay, I don't know how old you are, Coach, but I'm going to say you're not old, so that's all right. You can be relatively new in that coaching experience. You had shared a little bit prior to us coming on the air about maybe some adjustment that you made as you were going along. Again, new to coaching, but that by year 2, year 3, even you went into the season with a little bit of a different take. Talk about preseason and what it means to, just spend some time away from volleyball for a little bit and connect as a team, bond as a team.
Yeah. When my daughter was 13, she had a coach. She was the Bentonville High School coach. She was an amazing coach. And at our first player meeting, parent meeting, she had a phrase that I've never forgotten. She said, "Boys play to bond, girls bond to play." And I heard that and I remembered it, and it made a lot of sense to me. But the first few years of this program, I didn't really put that as a priority. And after 2 years, we were good, but we weren't great. I mean, even as a JV team, I want to be great. And great is not being 15-0 or whatever. I want to be a great team. I want to be a team that people say there's something different about that team. Mm-hmm. So that phrase came back to me. And I was like, what does that look like? So I actually, our women's soccer coach here, Kathleen Paulson, she does an amazing job and is a top 20 program year in and year out. And I met with her and I said, Kathleen, what are you doing that sets the standard for your season? And she says, I take my girls on a retreat. Before we ever hit the pitch, we go on a retreat. So that going into that third year, we one of the girls on the team, her parents had a lake house, and we went up there before we ever hit the court. We left campus and we prepared meals, but the biggest thing we did is we shared what we called H's. So you shared your heritage, who your family is. You shared your honey, your boyfriend, or in my case, my wife. You shared your highlight of summer. You shared your hope, and you shared your heartache. And Joey, some of the stuff that was shared was just so deep and we cried. As a team, we cried almost every person that shared. Girls would say, I've never shared this with anybody, but I'm going to share it with you. I had 7 new players that year. We were still strangers, right? But we got to know each other at such a deep level that the game became easy, right? When you're on the court and you're losing, well, I can lose with this person because I know their story. I can trust this person. I know their story. I've shared hard stuff with this person that I don't want anybody outside this team to know. And it was amazing the difference in our culture, and that we grew so close together that we weren't afraid to take on anybody. That year we played Cali College up from Kansas. They were the #1 JUCO in the nation that year. Now they beat us. But we had a great game. We played so free against a team. In the third set, we were up on them 7-0. Their coach called timeout. We thought we won the national championship, right? But it was because we shared something so much deeper. Going into the 4th year, we did a retreat again, and this time we shared testimonies. And it was interesting because every girl on the team, myself included, it all started off. I was born and raised in a Christian family, and then stories came out. But to have that, to know that we have this common foundation, but we struggle and we're going to hurt and we're going to, girls are going to come to practice and have a bad day. They flunked a test or their boyfriend broke up with them or their grandma has cancer. And we know, hey, we got to pick that person up today in practice. We're not going to, if they're struggling, that's okay. We're going to walk with them. It's bigger than the game. And so that phrase, just where boys play to bond, girls bond to play. Yeah. I see it every year now. And our culture is just so different and our chemistry is so different. And people ask me, other coaches, other parents, players ask me, what is different about your team? Well, bottom line, Jesus, bottom line. But in that is we're all imperfect. We all need a savior and we all need each other, right? So it makes a game so much easier. It makes, a tight 5-set match. It's back and forth. There's no fear, right? So it's been something that I'm so glad that I talked to our soccer coach. I'm so glad she shared that. I'm so glad we just develop that more every year.
We're visiting now with Steve Brankle from John Brown University in Siloam Springs, Arkansas. And Coach, it is a unique program that you're talking about, and I very much appreciate hearing about it. This is a program that you all go not just, I would say beyond the lines on the court, but definitely you're taking the show on the road. You all went to Northern Ireland a couple of years back, so this is a group of athletes and students and people who can take it beyond just the volleyball court, even though you use that to get to share with other people.
Yeah. So when we first started, we knew we wanted to go on a mission trip. And so we planned the first year to go to Ireland. Well, COVID, couldn't get out of the States, right? Second year, we're going to go to Ireland. We couldn't. Finally, 2 years ago, COVID's passed. We decided we're going to go to Ireland, work with an organization called Salt Factory Sports. They use sports to reach out. They're not just in Northern Ireland. I mean, last year our number of athletes from different teams went to Africa with them. But we decided to go to Belfast. JBU has a pretty big presence in Belfast. We have an Irish studies program. We have a manor over there. So we're pretty invested already. But so I took 10 girls over there. We were there 11 days. We probably worked with 600-700 kids, elementary and junior high kids, running camps, running clinics for them, going to their schools. Of course, you had to go sightseeing, right? You're in Ireland. You had to jump in the North Sea when it's 40-some degrees. But then we also played some of their Premier League teams. And, it's so cool. Ireland's a country, Americans intrigue them. They're very receptive. So people hear the Americans are coming. So all these kids come and they want to know you. They want to tell you their story. They want to ask you about Donald Trump, about guns, about, they know New York City, they know Dallas. But, and the question you keep hearing is, why are you here? Why are you here? Because they can't believe that you would come to their country. You're from the United States. You're from this wonderful place that they all want to be. But that opens doors. That opens doors to get to. I mean, we worked with kids on a weekend, and we went to their school. So we were with them on Friday, Saturday. We went to their school the next Thursday to this Bible lunch club that they have. About 10 kids come. The whole school comes out, and these kids, the Americans are here. The principal said all they talked about all week was the Americans were going to be here. Oh, we get to do all this fun stuff with them, and then afterwards we get to tell them why we're there.
Yeah.
And we get to tell them, we came to see you. We love Jesus. We're here because we have this hope that we want to share with you. And quite honestly, we're going back in 6 weeks. We're not there to see kids get saved. We're there to plant seeds. We didn't pray a sinner's prayer with any kid there. But I told the girls, I said, I guarantee you we're going to be in heaven someday. And this little kid's going to come to you and say, you remember me? You came to Ireland and you planted the seed. Mm-hmm. And that's not our place, right? Our place is they were to use us, to attract kids to come and hear this message. And then they took names and they follow up with them later. But we get to use a sport to go to Ireland to reach out to 600-700 kids. We played their Premier League had just had their national championship, and we played the team that had won, and we played the second place team. And we played the champions first. We had never all practiced together. We had some of the varsity girls, some JV girls, and then 2 incoming freshmen. So we never all played together. So first game was very rough. We got down 9-0. The Polish national coach is the coach on the other side. Then here's this guy, with about 40 college games experience total. But we got down 9-0. I called timeout, and I just called the girls over, and we started laughing. It's like, what's it matter? We're here. Next thing you know, we're up 12-10. And we end up losing in 4 sets. We beat the second place team. But what was so cool is afterwards, the coach came up to me and he goes, over here, you get up 9-0 on a team, it's over. He goes, so you call timeout, and we're laughing at you. And he goes, next thing you know, we're behind. He goes, What was the difference? He goes, you never lost your temper. You never yelled at the refs. You never yelled at your girls. I said, why? It doesn't matter. I said, he goes, well, what's different about you guys? I said, you really want to hear the answer? He goes, yeah. I said, Jesus. Yeah. We ate pizza with them afterwards, and we stayed and talked to those girls. The girls all danced and stuff for 2 hours, just sharing who we were, you know. And again, this silly game. You're over in Belfast, or we were actually down in Dublin then playing, and you're getting to share about your faith, and you're getting to share what's different in your life with people. That's pretty cool, right?
Absolutely, it is, Coach. And you mentioned something that stuck out to me. It isn't up to us. We're supposed to do our job. We are to sow, plant seeds, like you talked about. We are to water, and then the word says God gives the increase, and He takes it from there. So we just do our part and leave it up to Him. Coach, I just would ask then, and I'm very much grateful for your time as we wrap up part of what we're doing here, and I definitely want you to come back on Midwest Sports Net to share a little bit more about that. It's not everyone that recruits to a JV program, and in reading a little bit about what you do, and then listening also as well right now, I was interested when you said that some of the players do move over to the varsity side, and that was a question I had. So you've already answered that one, but what's it like to recruit then to a JV program? Obviously, you have a lot more to offer than just volleyball itself, but is that ever something that when you're out on the recruiting trail, hey, come play for us, it's a JV program? What are you met with in that?
It's a mixed bag. So there are girls we call tweeners, right? Are they good enough for varsity? Or are they good enough for JV? I don't know. So we'll get them on campus. We're recruiting you to JBU. JBU is an amazing school. We have amazing academics, right? We have amazing facilities. We have a lot to attract kids too, besides volleyball. Yeah. So we get them here, and if they're clearly a varsity player, they go one way. We don't lie to a kid and say, oh, you're going to play volleyball for us, not say one way or the other. And then they show up on campus their freshman year. It's like, oh, by the way, you're on this court and you're on the JV team. I'm very upfront with it. I tell them what my vision. I mean, some girls, they don't want the 30-plus game competitive schedule. We play less games, 15 to 20 games. We practice just as much. We come a little bit later than the varsity does, but we're very upfront. And what I share is what I've been sharing. The culture of this team. It's different. You're not coming. I mean, the first year was really hard because girls said, what are we playing for? We're not playing for a conference championship. We're not playing for a national title or a tournament bid or whatever. I said, no, you're not. You're playing for something so much greater than that. So it's sharing our vision, sharing our culture, get girls to play with us, and be very upfront. Don't be deceptive. You're recruiting to a JV team, but I promise you, I see you more than a JV volleyball player. These girls, they're volleyball is just something they do. That's not who they are. I meet with the girls twice a week. Every 2 weeks, I eat lunch with them. 2 questions that I ask them every time: How's your walk with the Lord? How can I pray for you? We might talk volleyball, but in those conversations, it's so much more. I've heard so many stories, hard things, really awesome things, right? But so I think it's very easy to recruit this team. Like I told you last night, I've had four younger sisters so far play for me. I have an offer out to another one that would actually be the third sister in that family, and there's still fourth. She's a couple more years out. There's another girl. I've got 2 girls from New York right now that have a younger sister. I have a girl coming this Sunday. Her sister is one of my DSs right now. So that tells me something's different, that girls, when a younger sister wants to play for a JV team and they're excited about it, I must be doing something, or the team must be something that's special, right? So quite honestly, I found it very easy now that we've established it. Now that we play a very competitive schedule. One of the teams we played last year won the D3 JUCO tournament last year. So we're not playing cupcakes. I'm going to give them a good college experience, but a good college volleyball experience, but that's going to be the smallest thing of their education here, of their development here. So I think being upfront, Joey, and being very real and sharing a culture that I'm very excited about. I mean, I have a job that takes 50, 60 hours a week, and then I spend another 20 to 30 a week coaching. I pour my heart into it. I don't see it as a JV team. They're a college volleyball team. They're putting in the work. but the volleyball's the easiest thing we do.
I understand. And I appreciate how you spelled that out. That is fantastic. Coach Steve Brankle, who is the head JV coach for the John Brown Golden Eagles volleyball program. Coach, so much to share today, and I think we have time for another one sometime soon. So we want to invite you back already to come back here on Midwest Sportsnet. And I'd like to visit a little bit more. Maybe we can share more after this next season when we learn a little bit more about the program and go from there. And they can reach you, I'm sure, and find you online. JBUathletics.com is how they get to the athletic department website. But, Coach, thank you so much for taking time with us today and sharing.
I will come back anytime. If you can't tell, I get a little excited about it. But, just one last thing. It's not about volleyball. It's about sharing life, sharing your faith with these kids, growing these kids in their faith, having something so much bigger that is literally eternal. That's what it's about. So I'll come talk to you anytime, Joey.